So you didn't go to school for anything related to music or
I went to school for nothing related to actually like
music or photo or video or anything.
like the things that I need to be an expert in. I didn't go to school for
Yeah, that's
at
interesting.
all. Yeah, which is funny. Like, there's a base knowledge that I have that's like about ministry that I learned in school, but and working in like the church world. But yeah, the things that I do on a daily basis, like all the mindset stuff came with my schooling, but like none of the practical things. Like all the practical stuff I learned by actually just doing it. And there's certain things that you could probably learn like that would have been easier if I would have went to school, you know, and they would have taught me like, here's how to run ProPresenter, or here's how to like create things that people are going to actually like looking at. But I just had to figure that out by like trying stuff and seeing things and kind of playing with it along the way.
But you're glad you went.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's a like complicated question, because if I would have had like tons of school debt, like that would have been, I would have been terribly like upset that I went. But I didn't, and that was part of the school that I went to, and part of my parents being awesome, and you know, part of working really hard too. So I mean, a bunch of different scenarios to get to that. Like I didn't graduate with a bunch of debt, so
Yeah.
I've got a lot of friends who graduate with a bunch of debt, and they're like, I don't know what to do, and I'm like, yeah, sorry, buddy, don't. Maybe you should have thought about that.
Yeah, that's rough. That would make it difficult.
Yeah.
So after college, you get your first job doing music? Question mark.
Yeah.
And that's here.
That was at Essex. Yeah.
I mean, that was right out of school, right?
Yeah. I graduated, got married, and then like within like the 3-month period, I graduated, got married, and then like moved to Vermont from Pennsylvania. Actually, technically, I moved like from Chicago. I got married in Pennsylvania. There was like a pit stop. It was like, just gonna pull in here, get married, and then we're going up to Vermont. That cool? And then Leah was like, yeah, let's do this thing. So
Yeah. Well, my first question of many about that is, what are you doing up here? Why Vermont? Was there just a job?
Yeah, there was. So I was like looking for a ministry job specifically. You know, I was looking for somewhere where I could fit well. I was looking for people that I want to work with and learn a lot, because I knew going into it I would need to learn a bunch of things. Like I think I was wise enough at the time to know I didn't know everything I needed to know to be successful. Like getting a piece of paper, like graduating and getting a piece of paper doesn't really mean anything. You know, it means that you put in some work and that you paid a lot of money for a piece of paper, which like lots of people can do. But actually being successful in what you're doing means that you need to learn from people who have been doing it for a long time. And so I came to Essex knowing that I would learn a lot because there was a lot of experience in ministry at the church. I knew that I'd fit in well in the culture, and like that I like, it was also kind of like a, do you know somebody there? Like, I mean, everyone's probably heard, like, you know, it's good. It's not what you know, it's who you know. Like, that's not always true. Like, you do have to know some stuff. I think like everyone in this world knows, like, you've got to know some stuff to actually be able to do something, but like who you know is a huge part of it. And that was a huge reason that I came to Essex, is that like I grew up in a church that knew the leadership of our church, and they're like, hey, like, I think they talked about me before, like they saw my resume and they talked about me before we even like talked, which I don't know if that's legal or not, but like, I don't know. I think it's fine. I was fine with it.
I'm
I got
sure
the job,
most
so.
everybody does that,
Yeah.
so I wouldn't worry about legality.
I don't, and technically, for the record, I don't know if anyone did that or not, but I just always like kind of assumed. I was like, they had to have called and then been like, hey, this kid went to your church. Is he cool? You know?
But you know,
it's not a
it's all
weirdo.
who you
right?
know.
Yeah,
It really is.
But yeah, so I think that was helpful. And you know what, like, it was an adventure for me, like right out of school, like moving to Vermont. It was like, ooh, Vermont.
With a wife.
With a wife who was like, where's Vermont? We live like 2 states away. And she learned, like, she was like, okay, it's up there, up somewhere near Canada.
Yeah.
So we moved here.
It's crazy you're closing the door on that chapter, but
It's weird. Yeah, we're moving back to like the Midwest, which is odd. More Midwest than we were before, actually. It's like further into the Midwest.
yeah.
So Dayton, yeah, it's gonna be crazy.